guys, Eric here with Amy, who I am very jealous of because she got to see Star Wars Rebels last night. They had the premiere screening here at Comic-Con. What's your first reaction to it?
You shouldn't be jealous. It was awful. No, it really wasn't awful. It was pretty great. It was an exciting, it's very new. It's not Clone Wars, but it doesn't need to be.
Right.
It was definitely light. It had some humor, but it tackled some really serious subjects too. So I don't think people should be concerned about the balance.
Right, because I know that was, look, there are some fans who want Star Wars to be all dark all the time, which I think is a little weird, but there are also people who said that, this is a dark era, certainly, and we're worried that if it's all levity, all lighthearted, but you're saying it's not that.
It's definitely not, and the first hour-long special, the first episode is an hour.
Yeah.
Did a really great job of showing a world, a galaxy in turmoil. You really see the effects of the Empire on Lothal, and it's not good. But at the same time, the crew of the Ghost and this kid Ezra that they bring on board, they tackle it, they face it, but they're not afraid to make jokes and cracks along the way. So It's this really energetic, it's heartwarming. That's what it is. It's heartwarming.
And let's talk about the characters because we got the core group. Again, let's face some of the concerns. People are like, oh no, a plucky teenager. Is he going to be like overly precocious? So what can you say about him in general, but also the other characters?
Yeah, sure. Ezra, I was worried about because when we first met Ahsoka in Clone Wars, she was a little bratty.
Yes.
Ezra is very much a street rat. He's kind of like Aladdin. He's surviving. He's scrappy. But he's got some sass, and he's got the Force. So I felt more connected to him than I thought I would. And the rest of the crew, they have a really great dynamic. Zeb really surprised me. I'm not going to attempt Aurelios, his last name.
Right.
But he was not just a brute force. He was very funny. He was all of their animation, all the faces are so expressive. Hera was amazing as the pilot and kind of co-leader of the group. Kanan, the cowboy Jedi, was very stoic, very unsure about Ezra, and you could tell he's kind of the take charge guy of the group. That's
been a character I'm really curious about too, and I think a lot of people are because it is this era where there's almost no Jedi left. They're on the run. Most of them are dead. So how is Kanan? What's the perception of him as far as 15 years on the run?
You can tell they insert this really cool scene, which they teased in a trailer with the Obi-Wan holocron, where you can see how it weighs on Kanan. It's been a hard time. He's kind of hesitant about Ezra, too. Do I want to bring this kid into this situation? You can read that on his face. But he's moving forward. He's still fighting back. But you can tell the weight of the world has built up.
Everyone's always going to be looking for the connections to the bigger Star Wars world, even though it has to establish its own characters. We know from the trailer you mentioned the Obi-Wan hologram, and then also we saw that there is Luminara in the trailer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, from the prequel era, from the Clone Wars. So can you talk about those nods, those connections to the other Star Wars and how that works?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll definitely see some familiar faces and hear some familiar names. And they also did a really excellent job of kind of bringing in some of those familiar lines. I don't think anybody said I have a bad feeling about this, but there's that's a trap, but it didn't feel forced, and it wasn't
no
just
pun intended.
No, there wasn't. But they really did a good job of working those in a different way, in a way that kind of makes you go, I see what you did there, and old fans, longtime fans will appreciate that.
And villains, always an important part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I love Jason Isaac, so I'm incredibly excited about him.
Right?
Yeah. So what can you say about the Inquisitor?
Yeah, so we get a brief glimpse at the Inquisitor.
Okay.
And Agent Callus, he's present, and I'm going to call him Callus. That's just his nickname.
Yeah.
He's hardcore, and I'm a little concerned for the Rebels about him.
Lastly, you saw this here at Comic-Con. This is obviously a audience primed for it, but what was the reaction of the crowd, of the people around you?
Everybody cheered. They laughed, they cheered, and there was a really great energy in the room. So it was exciting.
Suffice to say, you're excited to see more episodes of Star Wars Rebels?
I can't wait till October.
All right. I can't wait to see. Like I said, super jealous of her. Rebels is coming in October. We'll have plenty more Rebels to come, plenty more here from Comic-Con. Thanks, guys.